Hi, everyone, and welcome to another social science coffee break. I am Stacey Allen, and I am joined today by my colleague Paul Rombo, and we are super excited to share with you some resources related to social sciences and digital competency. So for today's elementary resource, it is hot off the press, just published today. I am sharing with you an activity that I named 1905 Regional Comparison Report. And this is an activity that would take about a period or two, depending on the kind of product and the extensivity of the product you wanted your students to create, and is designed for elementary cycle 3 students who are comparing in competency to the prairies and the West Coast. So this activity, of course, our February theme of Canva was created. It is a branching scenario that was coded and created with Canva code using a Canva education account. And it is a branching scenario where students will work in teams, and then each member of the team has to pick whether they're going to explore the prairies or the West Coast. And then they click through and go through aspects of that society. And then after they're done their branching scenario, they come back together and they produce a final report, which could be an audio recording or an in-class presentation or a written report to go to the Prime Minister about comparing those two societies in time and the management of their territory. Um, and I love this branching scenario, mainly because branching scenarios, I think, are a lot more engaging and they do offer a little choice. You'll see when I go through this branching scenario does require students to learn about all four aspects, but they have a choice on what kind of aspect they want to learn first. So it feels kind of manageable. The content is really in digestible pieces. So I've tried to make this activity again that students could look quickly to build their competency to in about a period, maybe 2 periods, depending again on the extensivity of their output. So it's very digestible content. And I think this idea of them conducting research on the branching scenario and then coming back together to produce a final report really promotes collaboration and collaborative research in terms of students having to do their own parts and then come together. It builds a bit of classroom community. So I just published this resource on societies and territories. So you will find it under the news updates. It'll be right at the top if you're checking this after I've recorded this on February 17th. If not, I might have made some new stuff. So you'll just have to go down and check in the 1905 comparison by societies, resources by type, and or resources by society, and then comparing the West Coast and the prairies. But you'll see here, if you access the site on societies and territories, that you'll find a link to the branching scenario, student organizers, and the teacher's guide. So this is a bit of what the branching scenario looks like. So this would be the main website that you would send the students to. Again, they work in teams. They can pick which region they want to explore. When they pick on a region, they'll get a little discussion about how they got there, and then they'll have 4 topics to explore. Again, they can explore those in any order they want, okay? Once they have explored all 4, at the end, they'll get a notification that they're ready for their final task. They'll get a little bit of a summary and then a description of the task. So they need to, with their partner, think about one thing is different, one thing's set the same, and again, how each region would contribute to Canada's growth, because I'm sure the Prime Minister would all want to know that information. So to accompany this branching scenario, I've created a little worksheet for the students to do. So you'll see that these sections relate to the information that they'll find in the branching scenario. So each student could have a copy. This is a QR code and a link, depending if you want to do it online or print these, where students can record their information. And there's instructions. After students have gone through the branching scenario, the second page, you could print these side by side or again, use it online. Students would together try to answer these questions. So what is different? What is the same? And how do they contribute to growth? So a bit of that economy question. And then students could create, again, audio file or infographic or a written report related to their findings. Um, this is the teacher's guide I'll quickly show you. Let's minimize that and make it big so you can actually see because I've zoomed out. But you'll see the teacher's guide. I've tried to make it pretty short, divide the teams in two, present the scenario, a bit about how to use the branching scenario, some text suggestions there. And again, an example evaluation form if you want to use it, and then some example answers that students might come based on the what's included in the branching scenario. Great. So I hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun creating this with Canva code. How I created it, oh man, this is going to be long, but I basically created a bit of my text using Gemini. I uploaded parts of our text-based documents, which are copyright Creative Commons, into my protected Gemini, which I've logged in through my educator account. I asked for help in creating those sections. Then I vetted what it created based on the actual curriculum documents. And then I put this into Canva code AI and I prompted it to make an interactive branching scenario that was accessible for students. So I gave it the accessibility level 1 guidelines, which you can find on our other website related to digital competency in action. Here, dca.learnquebec.ca, and you will find, if this ever loads, a whole section here on creating accessible digital resources. So have a wonderful day. That's a bit of a long one for me, and I'm going to pass it off to Paul to share a bit about his secondary resource related to Canva and branching scenarios. Have a great day.
Wow, that was really a great share, Stacy, and thanks a lot. I'm going to start mine. Uh, my name is Paul Rombo. I'm also a social sciences consultant and also receive at Learn, helping teachers to include technology in their pedagogy. And well, this is Stacy's share. I bounced off this and really enjoyed this process. I don't have an activity per se, but I just wanted to mention that this kind of technology can definitely be used in secondary. And I started playing around with this. I'm going to call it a prototype for now because I haven't checked it over yet, but I want to tell you a little bit about it. Of course, branching story, it's an interactive presentation using hyperlinks to allow a viewer to make choices that change the path of the presentation. I think this is great for motivating students. I just did a workshop on motivation yesterday, and I wish I had had this to show people because it's brilliant. It gives a student a choice in what they want to learn and where they want to go in that learning. Why? It allows the students to focus their attention on a particular story path, something that interests them, and it's student-centered, as I've said. Um, it's for this particular one is for, oop, that's a mistake, cycle two students. I'll fix that later. Secondary cycle two students on the rebellion. And of note that students could also do this kind of thing once they have access to these kinds of tools, create their own stories and share them. So I'll show you the prompt that I use. I wanted to do something on the rebellions. I created a little description of the prompt. I want to create an interactive fiction where students in grade 9, secondary cycle 2, in the Quebec English schools learn about the rebellions of 1837 based on our history program. I want you to include facts about all aspects, so societal, political, cultural, and territorial. And this was an original prompt that stayed in line with the Quebec programs. I actually forgot to put it in this new version, but I think it's still pretty good. Like I said, I'm checking it over. I just wanted to show you because I was so excited about it. Um, so yeah, so it gave me a response. I'll do the creative fiction. It'll include political aspects and so on. The features of it, it says this as it's doing it, Canva, to produce 12 interconnected scenes with paths, historical facts highlighted in every scene, 5 different endings based on choices, progress tracking, and a summary of learned facts at the end, which I really like. I'm going to go through it really quick and demonstrate. But like I said, I haven't made an activity for this. I just was dying to do it and show you. for secondary. So it's actually at the bottom of the rebellions page on the history site. Once it loads, what is it about Google things and loading these days? Okay, here it is. I'm just going to scroll up to see where we are. We do have a page started for the rebellions. The page hasn't been finished yet, but there are lots of teacher resources. There's the main document collection. There is a learning and evaluation situation from last year, a few history detective packages, and a student activity by the RC, as well as discussion by the RC. So I stuck this at the bottom of the page, and I just was dying to show you. I'll see if I can zoom in a bit, make it a little bigger, but and I've called it a test area, but so far it seems to work. Now, I do want to say one thing about this was that I actually took the code and pasted the whole code into another AI, a chat AI, and asked it to verify some of the historical facts. And it did make some suggestions, and I went back and added that to the Canva to fix it up a bit. Like I said, I still need to check it manually myself. So here it goes. What I thought was interesting, it said, you are Mary Joseph Cote, a 17-year-old, and your father owns a farm, and your uncle is a notary who discusses politics. Tensions are rising, and the patriot movement is gaining strength. And what do you want to do? So it gives her options. Attend a Patriot Assembly, stay at home, help your father, visit the market. And if you click through, you can see that obviously attending the assembly gives her other choices related to the rebellions. And she even has the option down here to join. And if she joins them, she prepares to resist, and it gives you context about who they were, and gives her other options to eventually join the fighters. I'm gonna say she hides, and then at the end, it gives a summary of what she went through and what she learned. So again, I haven't checked this over for any possible hallucinations, but or changes of terms and that sort of thing, different terms. But I will finish that up and publish it, hopefully with an activity. But it's there as a way to study, and it's a great tool. Thank you very much, Stacy. This was a real highlight of my week.